The film kicks off with a young man named JR riding in the back of a prison transport van. He's heading in to serve a 6-month sentence. During intake, the guards strip his belongings and ask if he has any enemies inside. JR says no. When offered to put an emergency contact on his call list, he refuses. He's then escorted to his cell, where his new roommate turns out to be a total introvert who completely ignores him. Out in the prison yard, JR is put to work. By pure chance, he spots Brendan, a highly notorious and dangerous figure in the criminal underworld. JR can't help but stare, which quickly irritates Brendan's crew, who aggressively force JR to get back to work. Later, JR watches Brendan play a game of chess. Suddenly, he sees 3 inmates approach his introverted cellmate, violently dragging him away. Shaken, JR walks over to Brendan's chess game. Brendan asks the kid what he wants. JR boldly suggests changing a few moves, confidently declaring he can win the game in just 3 steps. Amused, Brendan lets him play. JR executes the moves perfectly and wins without breaking a sweat. Brendan's crew erupts into laughter at their boss's defeat. Annoyed, Brendan demands to know why the kid is always staring at him. JR admits he's read a lot about him. This strikes a nerve. Brendan snaps, telling JR that everyone in here is exactly the same, nobodies, and walks away. The next day, JR is hanging out in the block, but his eyes are glued to his cellmate. Right on cue, the same 3 inmates show up to drag the poor guy away again. JR decides he's not going to sit back. To draw the guards' attention, he intentionally starts a massive brawl. The distraction works and the attackers scatter, but JR takes the fall and is tossed into solitary confinement. When he gets out, Brendan is waiting. The veteran criminal gives JR a stern warning: stop playing the hero, mind his own business, or end up dead. That night, JR wakes up to a horrifying sound. His cellmate has sliced his own throat with a razor blade. JR violently slams the panic button. The guards rush in, but the man bleeds out on the floor. For the disturbance, JR is thrown right back into solitary. When he's released this time, one of the 3 vicious inmates walks up to JR, grinning as he tells the kid he is next. JR immediately crafts a deadly shiv to protect himself. While walking the grounds, JR spots the 3 inmates stalking him, but before they can strike, Brendan steps in, pulling JR safely into his cell, while Brendan's crew brutalizes the 3 attackers. Brendan makes JR an offer: full protection, but in exchange, JR has to help Brendan break out of prison once JR is released. Brendan gives him time to think it over. The very next day, the 3 inmates corner JR in the bathroom, but Brendan's crew intervenes, saving JR and beating the attackers to a pulp. JR is officially in. Fast forward 6 months. JR is a free man. Following instructions, he tracks down Sam, the ruthless boss of Brendan's crime syndicate. JR hands Sam a piece of paper, proving Brendan sent him. To test the kid, Sam sets up a chessboard. JR repeats the exact same 3-move checkmate he used in prison. Impressed, Sam orders his right-hand man, Josh, to hand JR a duffel bag and a hotel address. At the hotel, JR unzips the bag to find passports for Brendan and his crew, a handgun, and clothes. There's a knock at the door. JR opens it to find a stunning girl named Tasha. She explains that Sam sent her to drop off cash and a burner phone. When JR asks what his job is, Tasha just smiles and tells him the phone will ring. The next day, JR heads to a junkyard to meet Jimmy, one of Sam's associates. Jimmy hands JR a weapon for target practice. JR is a natural marksman, but Jimmy warns him that shooting metal is very different from shooting real people. JR heads back to his place. Soon, the burner phone rings. A voice tells him the breakout is happening in exactly 1 day. When the hour arrives, JR heads to an airfield to charter a helicopter. As he straps in, he draws his gun, aiming it at the pilot, and hijacks the chopper, ordering him to fly directly to Brendan's prison. Inside the facility, Brendan and his crew stage a violent fight in the cell block. When a guard steps in, they ambush him, pressing a shiv to his throat. They threaten to execute the hostage unless the guards pop the doors to the recreation yard. The guards hit the release. But when the inmates rush into the yard, there is no helicopter. The guards prepare to fire until the roaring sound of chopper blades fills the air. JR swoops in, laying down heavy cover fire against the tower guards. Brendan and his crew sprint to the chopper and climb aboard. They soar away to freedom. They fly to a drop zone, hogtie the pilot, change clothes, and hit the road in a getaway car JR hid earlier. Later, they pull over at a rest stop. While one of Brendan's friends runs inside for food, the crew listens to the police scanner. The radio lists the crimes of the friend who just walked into the diner. He isn't a hardened killer, he's a convicted child molester. When the man gets back into the car, they say nothing and keep driving until they switch cars. As they step out, Brendan unleashes his fury, beating the predator within an inch of his life. Brendan spares him but vows to kill him if he ever snitches. The remaining crew drives to a safe house. Sam meets with Brendan. Sam tells Brendan about a massive upcoming heist, a gold refinery holding 6 solid gold bars worth $5 million. If Brendan leads the crew, he gets half. Without a second thought, Brendan is in, confirming JR will join them. Back at the hotel, Tasha stops by. JR watches her closely. As she walks away, JR follows, but Josh suddenly intercepts them, screaming at Tasha. JR steps up to defend her, but Josh violently overpowers JR and hurls JR into the deep end of the swimming pool. JR can't swim and starts drowning. Tasha dives in and pulls him to safety. JR climbs out and lunges at Josh, but Brendan steps between them, barking at JR to stop causing trouble. JR storms off. Tasha follows him out, inviting him into her car. They end up at a quiet restaurant where Tasha opens up. She was just a college student who met Sam online through a fake job ad. She admits she's never tried to run because Sam murders anyone who tries to escape. A deep connection sparks, and Tasha begins falling for JR. By the next day, Brendan catches wind of the romance. He corners JR, aggressively warning him to stay far away from the girl or Sam will kill them both. JR promises to keep his distance. That night, the crew maps out the heist. They plan to infiltrate the gold refinery disguised as maintenance workers. Tensions run high, and Josh picks a fight with JR. Frustrated, JR leaves and drives straight to Tasha. They spend the evening together and end up sleeping together. The next morning, JR tells her to pack her bags and be ready to run. It's time for the heist. The crew suits up in worker disguises and hits the road. They arrive at the refinery and bypass security. JR crawls through the ventilation shaft and positions himself above the break room. Hours pass. The shift workers file in. Brendan and 2 crew members slip in behind them. Brendan's team storms the security room, tasing the guard. Over the radio, Brendan gives JR the signal. JR drops from the ceiling, grabs a worker, and screams that he will kill everyone if anyone touches the alarm. He unlocks the doors, letting his crew inside. Brendan forces the refinery manager to melt down all the raw gold. Suddenly, a deafening gunshot rings out. Josh just shot a worker for absolutely no reason. Furious, Brendan strikes Josh. They load the gold into duffel bags and try to blend in with the fleeing workers as police sirens wail outside. Their cover is blown and a massive shootout begins. They dive into their getaway SUV and a high-speed pursuit kicks off. The driver masterfully loses the cops, but John takes a bullet to the back. JR frantically applies pressure to the wound. They pull into the back of a moving transport truck, vanishing from the police radar. They arrive at Sam's compound. Brendan hands over the gold. Sam coldly orders Brendan to torch the getaway car, promising to pay the crew tonight. The crew pushes the bullet-riddled car off a steep cliff. As it bursts into flames, John, still bleeding out in the back seat, burns with it. Meanwhile, one of Sam's thugs knocks on Tasha's door. He walks in, spots her packed suitcase, and violently whips her across the face with his belt. Tasha fights back fiercely, escapes the house, and immediately texts JR, warning him that Sam is setting them up. JR shows Brendan the text just as they arrive at the drop location. SWAT teams are swarming the perimeter. It's an ambush. They floor it, escaping just in time. Brendan directs them to a secluded cemetery. He digs up a hidden stash of emergency cash, declaring they will use it to take the gold back from Sam. They text Tasha to meet them at the train station. The trio flees to another state, renting a cheap apartment. Watching the news, they realize the stolen gold is actually worth $10 million. Sam lied about the payout. Paranoid, Brendan orders Tasha to buy groceries. When she refuses, he viciously slaps her. JR protects her, but Brendan brutally beats him down. Tasha walks out. Later, Tasha returns with the groceries. She catches Brendan handing JR a stack of cash, telling him to string Tasha along for 2 weeks before dumping her. When JR accepts the money, Tasha's heart breaks. She runs away. JR sprints after her, but she refuses to hear his excuses, leaving him heartbroken. Brendan tracks down a professional hitman. He learns Sam put a $100,000 bounty on his head. Brendan flips the script, offering the killer $1 million of the stolen gold to help him raid Sam's compound. The killer agrees. The next morning, Brendan and JR ambush Josh during a shady deal. A massive shootout erupts. They take Josh alive, torturing him until he coughs up the location of the gold. They raid the location, secure the gold, and kick down the door to Sam's private office. Brendan aims his weapon at Sam. Sam smirks, reaching for a hidden pistol, but Brendan is lightning fast. He pumps multiple rounds into Sam, killing him instantly. The next day, Brendan and JR rent a boat to smuggle the gold out of the country. Out on the water, suddenly Brendan pulls his gun on JR. He says he's only giving the kid half a gold bar. JR demands his full $2.5 million cut, calmly stating that Brendan has no right to divide the gold because the gold isn't even on the boat. Brendan tears open the duffel bags. They are filled with worthless scrap iron. JR's phone rings. It's Tasha. She coldly orders Brendan to do exactly what JR says or he will never see his money. Enraged, Brendan throws JR overboard into the deep water. JR starts drowning since he can't swim. Realizing he needs the kid alive, Brendan drags him back to the surface. JR tells Brendan to keep the cell phone. He'll call him later with the coordinates. JR climbs into a small dinghy and speeds toward the shore, reuniting with Tasha. They successfully outsmarted everyone and secured the real gold. Meanwhile, Brendan heads back to a city apartment to wait for the call. Suddenly, the doors are blown off their hinges. A heavily armed SWAT team floods the room, tackling Brendan to the floor. The master criminal is cuffed and sent right back to prison. And that is how the movie ends. That's it for today's story. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.